Welcome back to episode 16 of the Militia Podcast. Sorry about episode 15 and 14. I accidentally uploaded episode 14 twice.
Oh,
I have fixed the problem and I made a post about it, but I just wanted to say in a video, sorry. The other thing that I wanted to make a quick announcement about, I'll say it here and I'll say it in the gameplay video coming up on Friday. So you have two opportunities to see this. But things are going to change. I have been hired um, about an hour and a half away from where we are. So that's a little bit of a drive to make to film these videos. So, and plus, with just getting used to a new living situation and a new job, I can't guarantee that you're going to get 3 videos every week. But I think what Morgan and I talked about is we can guarantee 2. These podcasts are relatively easy to film, and I think we can maintain podcasts. But instead of a 3 video series, you might get a MTG Arena draft or a Vintage Cube draft, or when you do get content, it'll be through Spell Table.
yep.
Um, that's just the way that it's going to have to be. Not saying that in-person paper content is going away forever, but for right now, that's the adjustment that we're having to make because I want to advance my career. So,
Which is a very good reason.
you know, yeah. I hope you guys understand and are sympathetic. Um, Not saying we can't boot it back up with new people. Um,
Yeah.
get some more local friends involved that Morgan can film with, and I'll still edit those videos. But no plans to do that in the immediate future. The immediate plan is for us to film over Spell Table or on Magic Online and things like that. We could split those draft videos into like 3 or 4 videos, like I think Windmill Slam used to do.
Yeah.
But you know, I don't really want to do a draft one day and then round one the next, and
Yeah, that does not
I
feel
don't I
very
don't want to make
modern.
I don't want to make people wait 2 days to see round one. you know, so. Yeah, so we'll probably have a lot more of that content coming up. Um, so there's just a little bit of unpredictability as of right now, but we're not going anywhere. We're not stop uploading. It's just we might have to take a break from militia videos and sealed progressions every so often. And I can't give you an exact schedule because I don't know, right? So we're gonna have to play that by ear, Morgan and I, and we hope
Yeah.
that you are understanding. Now that we've got that out of the way, we're gonna do our Militia Madness MTG card spotlight, and the spotlight for this episode is Step Through. I believe is the name of the
Okay.
card.
The Wizard Cycler, right?
Yep. Um, I really like this card for a couple of reasons. The first reason is the top text box of the card. Bouncing 2 creatures against a green deck is just probably fine. And 5 mana at sorcery speed is what you're going to pay for that.
Yeah.
But that's like the less interesting part of the card. That's gravy.
It's tutor.
As far as I'm concerned, yeah, it's just a tutor. It's an instant speed tutor.
Which makes it a lot more valuable than like other tutors because you don't have to waste like your turn doing it. You can hold up a counter spell, then the second
Mhm,
they like don't do anything, you get to do your tutor with effectively 0 mana then since you weren't gonna spend it anyway.
mhm. And the wizard pool in just blue is like the prime targets for this are like Delver of Secrets is a wizard. Um, Wind Rider Wizard is a wizard, and Murmuring Mystic
Yep, Murmuring Mystic
is
was the
a
one I was trying to
wizard.
remember the name of.
Yeah, those are like the 3 really good targets for this. But there are others like Augur of Bolus is a wizard. If you're in blue red, it finds a bunch of stuff. It's just a very valuable tutor that I think is underplayed in a lot of blue red scred decks, like Delver decks,
Oh yeah,
stuff like
Archaeomancer
this.
is a
Just
wizard for combo potential.
Archaeomancer is a wizard. That's true. You just like if you ever want to have your mind blown, just look at common wizards. There are a lot more than you would think there are. But yeah, I really really like this card because it's a tutor. It's an instant speed tutor, and when you don't need the tutor, it still does something. Right?
Yeah.
It's not like some of the transmute cards where it's like perplex. It's like this card's really not good if it's
Yeah.
not being a tutor, and those are also sorcery speed. So
Yeah, like, he
being
won't
able
really
to
do much with
tutor
Dimir
instant
House,
speed,
or I think it's Dimir House Guard is the other one.
yeah, that one's also good. Just because when it's not tutoring, you can put it into play, and it's like a
Yeah, like the creatures have a minimum. But I was
yeah,
not going
pretty
to call
decent
out
threat.
what's it called, Drift of Phantasms, because that's a big butt.
Yeah. Well, Dimir House Guard's unblockable for all intents and purposes.
Oh man.
But yeah, no, I really like Step Through. Dimir House Guard's another one. What was I going to say? Yeah, it's just the tutor pool is very, very deep with it. So I really like the utility and also the tutorness of it. It's just very, very
Oh,
good.
I just saw that Galvanic Alchemist is a combo piece, which is a tutorable target as well.
Yep.
Yeah,
Again, you ever want to have fun? It just the more you look at the wizard pool, the better this card gets. It's
yeah,
just so good. Oh, I was gonna say is I also like pairing this with. There's another wizard cycling card with flash that comes into play and bounces a Kavu. I think it's Vidulcan Ether Mage.
hmm.
That's also a card that is in a very very similar vein. But I really only play that when I'm playing Mystical Teachings in my deck. Um, just because it's a thing with flash that you can go get that you
Yeah,
can then get. It makes Mystical Teachings be able to get Murmuring Mystic or Delver of Secrets or something like that. But
yeah, which I think like
um,
Murmuring is like the biggest like get out of that because that wins the game by itself so often.
mhm. Yeah, just having ways to find your threats when you need to close out the game or be interaction when you don't.
Yeah, and especially like while
It's
keeping your
just,
instant sorcery density up for stuff like terror and all that.
yep, for Terror and Cryptic Serpent and Delver itself. Right, this is a tutor that flips Delver,
Damn.
which is nice.
Yeah.
And also a tutor that finds Delver. So yeah, no, I like this card a lot. All right. Excuse me. That's been the card spotlight today. We're here to talk about, I would say, the last overarching archetype. We're going to talk about other archetypes after this, but stuff like combo can get a little weird because you can have aggro combo decks or like control combo decks or
Yeah.
things like that, and like tempo can ride that line as well. So we're talking about mid-range decks, and I would say mid-range falls right in the middle of aggressive decks and control deck, like true mid-range
Yeah.
falls right in the middle of those two. But a lot of the time, it'll also have a slant. Um, I think of Jund being kind of like the pinnacle. Jund and Obzon to me are kind of like the pinnacle mid range decks
Yeah.
that a lot of people would be familiar with. Um, Obzon having more historically a more controlly slant, and Jund having a more aggressive slant. But primarily to me, historically, it's like black green decks are very, very mid range heavy. They have the best removal, they have really, really efficient threats, and they're just aiming to grind out value. I think it was Alex from LRR who described mid range decks as they take a shipping container of value and then they just slowly lower it on your opponent, and that's how
Yeah.
they kill you
Yeah, and
with
that
like this inevitability of this value generating engine or
yes.
something like that.
Yeah, like the biggest like way I would describe them is low synergy, high card quality a lot of the time. Not maybe like low synergy, but
Yeah.
like they're not going to be doing stuff like my three cards add up to a good card. It's like I play a good card, then I play another good card, then I play another good card, and it's like these may be aligned on the same game plan, but they're not directly like working with each other.
Yeah. Very much so. Um, you're not really like when you end the game is not as important as having higher value and card quality than your opponent, right? Like in a
Yep.
control deck, you have to be playing in mind for I'm playing the long game until I establish this, whatever that is, right? Like a Murmuring Mystic or a Talarian Terror or whatever this is. This is what I'm going to win the game with.
Yeah.
And in aggro decks, I think everything kind of synergizes, and that everything is aimed at killing your opponent, right?
Yep.
Mid-range decks um really focus on a mana curve, I would say. They're like way more than aggro and control decks do at a certain extent, where they're like, I want to be able to play 1 drop, 2 drop, 3 drop, 4 drop, right? That's what I want to be able to do. And whatever that is, right? Like I play a creature on 1, interact on 2, play a creature on 3, interact on 4, or something like that.
Yeah.
And then um they just win the game because their cards are more efficient and more value generating than everybody else. And I would say that the black um, holds in our format, as a lot of the mid range decks in our format are going to be black based, just because it gives you access to really really good removal and also pretty decent creatures. But unlike uh, the traditional black green aspect, I think our format pivots way more to black white,
Yeah,
um,
that
or
fits.
or like black red as like the default. Um, my cards are just better than yours. Playing efficiently, you get the in white, you get the core Skyfisher package, which is very very mid rangey. Um, and in red, you just get more removal, terminates, and well, terminate, not terminates. Terminate, lightning bolt, chain lightning, galvanic discharge. You just get access to really, really cheap removal to kill the little stuff, and really good red removal to kill the big stuff. And then your threats are just, to me, black white really is the epitome of I'm going to play along my mana curve. I'm going to do something, and I'm going to have a commander that generates value. But I'm low on synergy, high on value, essentially.
Yeah. Like honestly, that's kind of where it feels, especially because especially you go to like black white, you get like a lot of very mid range oriented commanders there too.
hmm
Like
Fans of the
version.
channel will have seen Spurgia
Yep.
is very, very, very. The way I've built them is very, very mid rangey, and I think white black really, really incorporate that. I think Quasar
Oh
also
yeah.
could be very, 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 very mid rangey, but again, white black, right? Like I think a lot of the commanders in that white black sphere are going to just be pretty mid range reliant, and I don't see a problem with that. I'm glad mid range has its place, but it does look different, right? You're not slamming. It should be noted that in other formats, like if you look at the Jund deck, right, like it took advantage with like Liliana and Tarmogoyf and and then the new Jund is like Ragavan,
Yeah.
stuff like that. If you look at like Canadian Highlander lists too, it's like Tireless Tracker is a big player. We don't have these cards. So our Ragavan is Novice Inspector.
Yeah.
It should be noted that what you're killing them with is very, very different. But this is also where I think Pact Terror and Refurbished Familiar, um, outside of like dedicated affinity decks, get a lot of play. The artifact card draw. Black is just like the most mid-range color in the format because its cards are just so efficient and so good. If you want to draw cards, black can do it. If you want to kill creatures, black can do it. If you want to gain life, black can do it. Which I do think is a thing that mid-range decks do have to think about. Um, but yeah, it's I'm reminded of decks like the Rock, historically when I think of like mid-range decks, where you're not gonna be a heavy favorite against anything. but you should be 50-50 against everything.
Yeah, like just disrupt them enough that you can start chunking in, and
Mhm.
hopefully that'll be good enough.
Mhm.
Like while disrupting wherever like little bits you can.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I'm looking at Furja, and it's yeah. Core
yeah,
Skyfisher package, I think, is a big contender for mid-range decks. I think Basilisk Gate is also pretty good in mid-range decks,
yeah, like
which
you
is a
have the time and the mana, so like it makes all your like piddly little guys a lot more threatening and more comparable to like
Mhm,
higher power level formats threats.
which is a reason to dip into green to make that card searchable. And green does add pretty good threats: Bannerhide, Crew Shock, Hazard of the
Yeah,
Dunes,
and like you see like a lot
uh,
of the mid range decks
Push
in like
Sesame.
Pauper being green based to like do that step up to threats like the 3 mana package of why can't I remember the name of it? The guy, 3 mana 3/3s that make a treasure or make an Eldrazi spawn, and
Oh,
then
Jewel Thief and Eldrazi repurposer.
yeah, but because like those are just like good status stuff that also like kind of keep your game plan going. And then
Hmm.
like after that, you'll see just like a couple like 4 and 5 drop like beaters because now that they've like done the tiniest amount of ramp that they need, they can just casually have higher card quality on you by just playing 3 and 4 drops while you're still playing like 2 drops and removal spells.
Yeah, but that's the thing. I think you hit it on the head really, really well. Was it's about card quality, right?
Yep.
It's about an attention to mana curve and understanding that, like, I want to go 1 into 2 into 3 into 4, but I also want to have the most efficient, most value generating. Like my one drop, I would rather have a Novice Inspector over Savannah Lions, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather have a smaller creature that generates more value than just a 2/1, right?
Yep.
Where aggro decks would be like, give me the Savannah Lions, or
That kills people.
yeah, or things like that, right? Like extort is a big mechanic I associate with these mid range decks, and just like a plentiful of removal and a plentiful of ways to draw cards or get cards back. Um, this is where I really feel like Unearth has a place, Recommission, Return Triumphant, those types of cards, I really think do have a place in white black in particular. But I think most of the decks in our format specifically are going to be black mid range decks, and the color they're going to ignore is blue, just in general.
Yeah, because like to make blue like do a lot of stuff in Pauper, you need higher synergy, which means that your individual cards have lower card quality. Because you'll see stuff like fairies or terror decks, and those both rely on critical density of cards, which means that you're going to have to inevitably get lower card quality.
Hmm. I will say that blue is really, really good at drawing cards like Ponder, Preordain, Brain, like those types of things.
Yeah.
But mid range doesn't care to get to specific cards. They're just built in such a way that they're just solid, right, all the way through. And there's not much. They would rather have a Novice Inspector to draw a random card than a Preordained to draw a specific card. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Um, Not they can't play tutors. I think the green based mid range decks will, for whatever reason, just to make their mana base a little bit better. Or um, I've also played Rebels in mid range decks before. But white black is just a very interesting space to exist in, because a lot of the decks, even the kindred decks, end up being mid range decks. Like I've built white black knights. It's a mid range deck. I've built white black rebels. It's a mid range deck. I, you know, so even when a white black deck you think is something else, you know, it's all mid range. Always has been. Uh, and then I shoot Morgan in the back of the head.
I wanted it to be
But
tempo.
no, 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 no. We'll talk about that in a couple podcasts from now. But no, no. White black in particular is very mid range build, and I don't think that's a bad thing. Let me be clear, because there's a lot of different ways to approach it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different mid range decks, which is I think the second point where what we've talked about prior to this is like true mid range. The other thing about mid range is that it can lean. It's right in this teetering scale of you can have aggro mid range decks and you can have control mid range decks, and that's where I think blue can come in and really support that control aspect by being able to draw cards and being able to like establish a Murmuring Mystic, or like Quasar has the potential to be this really, really controlling mid-range deck. And then like something like Mr. Afiro or Rocco has the potential to lean more the aggressive side of mid-range. In my opinion, I also think Black Red can do that too, especially with excuse me, with Madness payoffs and stuff. Like if you guys remember Green Goblin, I think that definitely leans towards a more control-y mid-range deck than an aggressive mid-range deck. But if you guys remember the set review, which no one watched, we also talked about, what was it, Scarlet Spider, and the other guy being a more aggressive version of Madness.
Yeah, Scarlet Spider King being more aggressive. Sorry, it looked like my mic was having trouble picking me up for a second there, so sorry.
Oh, you're good.
I'm going to
If
actually just
fine.
quickly close my window real quick because the
You're
background
good.
noise might be having trouble with my mic's automatic ability to sense my voice.
You're perfectly fine.
But yeah, I did mention for a
Okay.
second when you mentioned Rocco, is that
Mhm.
also does tend into like more of the combo side of midrange because you can just play like a bunch of value creatures that also happen to be 2-card combos.
Sometimes, yeah. The way I built Rocco was I did that and then found out rather quickly that like crap, I'm at 20 cards. Like you do need to dip into like interaction.
Oh
And I
yeah,
think that's another thing we talked about in the retrospective is you have to interact. There
and I
are
think that's the
no
right way to do it is to
combos that
also
are.
interact.
Mhm. And I also think you can put really aggressive pressure, like Rocco being able to put out um, a 5/4 for 2.
Yep.
That you don't have, and stuff like that. Like a lot of the Rocco cards, like Wild Nacatl, uh,
Oh yeah, and that is the only color that
a
can
lot.
actually play a full efficiency Wild Nacatl.
Yep, and can search it.
Yep. For very cheap because it's a 1-mana card.
Mm-hmm.
That's nice.
So yeah, I think all that makes sense. How long have we been?
22 minutes?
Okay, we can talk a little bit more, but um, 30 minutes is just a goalpost. If we don't like, I feel like mid range is kind of, though it is very versatile. I think it's kind of one of the easier ones to understand once you understand the other two. Like once you understand, like, oh, this is a control deck. Oh, this is an aggro deck, right?
Yeah, like
Those two are pretty straightforward. Once you look at a mid range deck, you can be like, oh, these are just good cards.
yeah,
They're not
like
necessarily the most synergistic.
yeah, if you look at like deck building like a sliding scale is like these are the most that like hit the extreme like points on is like okay, I cranked up the like I cranked up the control not control I cranked up the slowness and like being together like power level of the game to max. Okay, I'm in control. Okay, I cranked
Mhm.
up my speed to the. Oh yeah, that's the word I was looking for. Speed. I cranked up my speed like as slow as it can go. Okay, I'm in control. I cranked up my speed as fast as it can go. Okay, I'm in aggro. Okay, put it exactly in the middle. Okay, I'm in mid range. And like obviously the
Yeah.
mid range is the most like you can wiggle a little to either side to like adjust it. But like these are like the compass points of archetypes. While like some of the stuff we'll talk about in the future are like more in the gray areas.
Mhm. It's kind of like, what if aggro decks could play 5 drops? Then you're dealing with a mid range deck, right? And I would say in general, they're very creature focused,
hmm
right? There's not much thing as such of a creatureless mid range deck that doesn't really exist. But it's kind of the decks that are really, really well suited for a format too, because the interaction is built in. You don't have to say to yourself, how am I interacting? You'll find that you're gonna want to put in removal spells
Yep.
anyways. So yeah, I think that's pretty good.
Okay.
You guys have any comments or you want to see anything? Go ahead and like, comment, subscribe.
Do all that good stuff.
Uh, yeah, so this week what we will be doing is, just as a reminder, because this is what we talked about for the podcast. This week we will be filming two militia decks. We're doing the mystery thing again, where Morgan
Yeah.
is not telling me what they're bringing, and I'm not telling them what I'm bringing. We did say that we shouldn't play our most popular decks
Yep.
for a fourth time or whatever. So no Brawlios on Morgan's end, and no Furja
Yeah,
on
especially because
my
I just
end.
played Landfall as well.
Yeah, I played Furja a lot. Now
Yeah.
that's not saying Morgan can't play mono green and I can't play white black. To be clear.
Yeah. I don't think I want
Um,
to play mono green
but,
again right now, but hey.
yeah, and obviously probably no Cynet and no Gladiolus,
Yeah.
but not unless you have a completely different take. We did talk about that. We did talk about, funny enough, Gladiolus going to be a little bit more of a mid range deck, putting a little bit more interaction and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But
It probably would be stronger that way because it would just be more resilient and have like more cards that stand on their own. I just thought
mhm.
the like more like okay, let's all in like assault strobe. This was, I guess, for lack of a better word, funnier. Like just more like yeah, this could have a moment and that'll be fun.
Well, I think that's important, right? To like when you're building decks like that, to build them as like this is what the all in version looks like. How good or how bad is that? And then this is what the more balanced version of it looks like. How good or how bad is that?
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, and as a reminder, please be patient with us. It probably won't happen until like July, where you'll be noticing a lot of big changes, like the end of July. But please be lenient. It's It may not be like this forever. It may be. I don't know. It just depends on what the future holds, and the future is unknown, but exciting. And again, this channel's not going anywhere. Morgan and I don't want to speak for Morgan, but Morgan and I have a lot of fun doing this.
Yeah.
We're not going anywhere for sure. But you might get to see some new faces. You might get to, all that's a little bit up in the air. But the one thing is, that's for certain is I'm Hunter,
And I'm Morgan.
signing out.
Yeah.